Hey y'all, it's Melanie coming at you with some Omega energy. There's been some reflecting going on, I bet, from a lot of folks out there. I've talked about shifts before and I'll talk about them again right here, right now. Shift is just energy changing from one thing to the next, creating something out of what is already available and shifting it to something different. No different than when you get in your kitchen, and those of you who can cook anyway, get in your kitchen with your ingredients. You take your peppers and your other ingredients, your onions and your seasonings, and you take all those things together and you make something out of it. That's the same thing. When we alchemize energy and we shift the energy, we're just taking what is already available and shifting it into something else that's more conducive and available to us to be able to be used more efficiently and balanced in some kind of way. At least that's my hope most of the time when there are shifts. But sometimes it can be a little uncomfortable, especially when Mercury is retrograding. Don't it feel better now that it is direct? It always does. It's almost like a pressure cooker and it just released the pressure, right? But it does us a favor in a sense. A lot of the things that come up for you during those retrograde moments, especially with mercurial energy, that's more about our thoughts and ideas, okay, that impact and affect us in many ways. Most of the things that come up for you, depending on the type of energy it sits in, most of the things that come up for you are things that you, on your regular everyday moments, don't really sit with yourself and reflect on. Because you might not have time or the energy, you give yourself all kinds of excuses why you shouldn't be solving these problems or telling yourself the truth about some things. So what had happened was, every single time that happens, we have, as a collective, have an opportunity to sit with ourselves and reflect. Think of it as a holiday for you to sit with yourself. This is not necessarily the time. It's just like, I do realize that some of the folks who went to some of the classes, we're going to use classes as a metaphor for spiritual enlightenment, that went to some of the classes are quick to tell you, yeah, your ex is coming back, and this is happening, and these are very surface level things that we can focus on during Mercury retrogrades, because you can tell your ex, for example, that comes back, or an ex-friend or whatever, to go away the whole time. But if a part of you feels like that you really do kind of want them, but you just don't want the embarrassment of people seeing y'all together or y'all back to this and that and the other, then guess what's going to happen next Mercury retrograde? They're going to come on right back. It is not, I know there's a lot of common wisdom thoughts and people think it's the right thing, and who am I to say, right? But it's been my education and experience. If something keeps coming back, you are a part of the product of that coming back. I told y'all before, a long time ago, I used to get really upset. All my associates and friends, they would have exes come back and people that dated and randoms and all this stuff come back, and I'd be sitting here chilling like, why nobody ever come back and try to get back with me or apologize to me or any of these things? I've come to learn and understand and know that if you take the time to sit with yourself and reflect and realize what your part was in it, heal from the wounds that you had from those circumstances, and then educate yourself and realize that you don't want to be that anymore, so therefore you take the energy you currently have and change it to something that's more conducive for you, you don't have no problems. See, I used to be scared like everybody else, and I used to just run. Now I sit myself still because I know even if other parties are not healed or haven't been on a healing journey or didn't choose that for themselves, and to each his own, right? I did. There is a spiritual awareness that we're all connected. People only come back into your existence during Mercury retrogrades for two reasons. One, I just told you. You are still aligned with that energy in some kind of way. The other one is there's an awareness that is unspoken between those who have been connected, whether or not you don't want to play with still. And there's some awareness within them that thinks that you still don't want to play with. Or you still the one to try to steal energy from. The only way someone will come back into your existence, friends, co-workers, romantic partners, during Mercury retrograde is because you're a participant in it. In some way, shape, or form, you're a participant in it. You can lie to your friends and your associates and all those people in all those ways and say, oh, I don't want no parts of this. They better not never come back and all that. But the universal energy reads the truth of you. I know that's an uncomfortable thing to feel and sit with, but I need you to go on ahead and feel it and sit with it. It sees the truth of you. It expresses the truth of you. And the truth of you is you are pulling that energy back into you because you haven't changed something about your dynamic. You want to change it possibly, but haven't changed it yet. There is no, I'm better than this person. I'm better than this job. I'm better than this. Are you aligned with it still? They might tell you, they're going to come back because they owe you an apology. Honey, don't nobody owe you nothing. Because the good chance is, whatever made y'all fall out, you in some way were active participant in it. Okay? And so you owe yourself apologies for being an active participant in it. But you also are not owed an apology. If you sit there and heal and sit with yourself, you won't be feeling like you owed an apology. You'll be feeling like that person probably has some stuff they need to deal with and heal, and ain't got nothing to do with me. I love me enough to sit here and heal and deal with the issues that I got from that, because that ain't their responsibility. If one day, when they become in alignment with the true self, the higher self, and the light, if they want to hash it out, decide whether you want to be available for that. And the moment you decide you want to be available to that, it will either happen or it won't, but you won't care either way. See, that's a lesson you can learn from any type of Mercury retrograde. On the back end, beforehand, during the shadow, all that. So it's kind of backwards thinking in my assessment to think that somehow you're the antagonist in everybody's story. Or in your own story with everybody. Are you? Are you really? What did you do to contribute to the circumstances that led you to believe that you're the antagonist? If you're truly the antagonist sits down with themselves, heals themselves, prepares themselves, so that no matter what comes their way, they're in some way prepared for it. When it comes to spirituality or spiritual growth or healing in any possible way, if you are prepared, you're not worried. You're not in fear. You're not afraid. And I'm saying this from experience, honey. This is things I had to grow and learn within myself. See, I know it is much easier to listen to these folks who got off the bus, who left school early, and all these things. You see, that's my little assessment, in my opinion. And that's not objective, that's subjective. To me, based on what I've learned thus far, is that at this particular point, and I'm going to get off topic and digress a little bit, but it will still apply. There's a lot of folks who got a little bit of the knowledge, got happy, go lucky, and then started to be on the streets teaching folks stuff when they wasn't done finished healing and learning on their own. Now, do you have to be, this perfected version of a divine being in order to teach people? No. But whatever lesson you learn that you ain't going to repeat, there's an understanding you won't repeat because you've learned some things about yourself, not necessarily everybody else. And it's brought you to a space of peace, teach that. But if you were still on these streets, even as of recent, hexing folks, cussing folks, talking mess about folks, yammering back and forth, clapping back, honey, it is my opinion that you got off the bus early, left school early, you didn't sit down and be with yourself and heal those things enough to be able to tell people, hey, yeah, sometimes you get upset and angry. Feel those feelings. But how you respond says more about what you learned than anything else. Sometimes no response is required. At least if you're going to respond when you've healed the hurt and pain. That's when I say sit down till you heal. Honey, there are times where I have cussed folks from the top to the bottom and told them all about themselves. But that's one thing, one line that I'm proud. At the time, I was like, I should have went hard on them. I'm proud that I didn't go as far as I wanted to go when I was hurt and hurting. I'm proud that I restrained myself. And then with each level of healing and learning and understanding, I restrained myself more and more and more. Now, that's hard on the ego until the ego's healed. It's very hard. You know how many times I've been in these streets, especially the spiritual ones, that I've definitely known some things, known about some things, knew how to do some things, and I wanted to act on those things many, many times. I am grateful to the guides that I have. I am grateful to the advisement that I have. I am grateful to myself. Because what I learned over time is when you decide to react to those energies, you are aligning yourself with those energies. You're saying that you definitely are a mirror reflection of who I am, and I believe some of that about me. And so I'm going to go ahead and fight the reflection. And that's the fight of the reflection. Okay? I'm like, I rejected it, and it tore at me, and this and then the other. The ego does many, many things when it's not finished doing the work it needs to do to heal, right? But it's like I'm in the process of healing. So I did that. Not in a way that I wanted to initially react. Nah, I didn't. And there was a few times where I got real close to just sending that fade. Because I can. But just because you can, that don't mean you should. See, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, there's a lot of folks right now that's getting a rude awakening. See, we had the awakening about 3 years ago. A lot of folks woke up, and now they're getting a rude awakening because you were given, this is what my understanding is, and again, I could be wrong. You were given the tools to use to heal yourself, your bloodline, and those who want to learn from you as you were healing on your journey, while being clear and cognizant of the fact that you are imperfect and you are in a process of healing, and being honest about that process while healing, and only teach it from a space that you understand and making it clear what you don't understand, right? And some folks took that and was like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the bee's knees, and I'm the capital T. And what I witnessed was a lot of folks teaching about things that no care or concern for the outcome of how you teaching and what you're teaching. And the student ones that didn't understand, I was teaching her, I'm teaching you tarot so you can understand tarot better. Not for you to go and read tarot for everybody in the way that you're doing it. Because you want to be a healer. You're not yet a healer because you have yet to heal yourself in this way. You heal through that process so you can know what to say and what not to say. Because you understand the long-term ramifications of what you say and what you do. And until you learn that, you shouldn't be reading tarot for nobody. And then you understand that some people shouldn't be read tarot for at all. And until you learn that, until you really learn that and understand why that is, put them cards down. But that is a microcosm of the bigger example. We was on these apps and these social medias teaching everybody everything. While letting them know you know everything, and letting them know that some practices are closed for a reason. Letting them know that you better than them. Instead of just not saying about the practices in the first place until you get people who you one-on-one teaching to heal themselves, alchemize energy in a way that is not harmful to themselves or other people in a balanced way. Now, are there times you need to fight and defend yourself? Absolutely. But those should be a small part of your life. Now, I spoke on the chosen ones before, and I'll speak on them again because that's who I'm talking about. The ones who call themselves that. You understand? The chosen ones are not a birthright necessarily. See, it's like a job. And everybody applied that was able and had the aptitude. You still got to perform the work. And some people think the work was gaining as many followers as they possibly could to look at them. Sponsorships and all these things, and being on these streets and bullying folks into submission. That's what I think a lot of people thought that was. No, the process was first healing you. And whatever way that looks like, and sometimes it looks ugly. And then teaching everybody how you did it. And anybody who got negative things to say to you, to do to you, if you're truly what you say you are, that is a divine source of energy that will love you, comfort you, and guide you through even the roughest moments. You ain't always got to be clapping back at folks. You would have an understanding of that if you stayed on the bus. Now, After that process is done enough times, and it's done several times over and over and over, and that's going to be some times, child, that you won't understand why it is that you're not supposed to strike out in anger. Divine rage is a thing, absolutely. Once you've had enough, you've had enough. Go sit down somewhere or do what you need to do to protect yourself, but only if you need to, not just because you want to. There is a responsibility that comes with that job. To understand that they don't know what they're doing most of the time because they are also hurting. This world and the consciousness that is unhealed has created a lot of circumstances where people are just in pain. Being amongst the so-called chosen means that you sit there and understand that even if they strike you, you're strong enough to take that hit and still love them, whilst also teaching them if you don't want to do it that way, you don't have to. Now you might say, well, I ain't gonna still sit here and just get hit over and over again and just not do nothing. Ain't nobody said you have to be a victim or victimized by folks, but you ain't gotta feed into it and make that monster bigger. Again, there is an understanding that if you're in alignment with that particular job, you ain't gonna have to worry about nothing. And you ain't gotta advertise that somebody gonna get their tail handed to them if they mess with you. And you ain't gotta work with your right hand or your left hand. Both of them hands is free to pray, heal, love, understand. Now, I can tell you right now here, I've been guilty of this, so I'm gonna tell the truth on myself. When I know somebody didn't hit me with that and when I say that means energy, waves, hexes, curses. I just sit back and I take it and it hurts my feelings mostly. And I feel some type of way because I'm like, they really just don't understand. But I've learned a lot in these spiritual streets, and I've learned enough up until now to know to not be this way, but I was this way. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I make fun of them when they start getting that energy sent right back to them. Everything they sent out got sent back to them. And one, sometimes over time and sometimes on one big hit. And I know and I see it. Whether it be a dream or a vision or in real life. I just see it happen to them and I make fun of them. And I didn't realize why they thought I was doing something to them. Now I realize why. Because I used to make fun of them. Like, you hurt me, so I'm going to hurt you back. Why you hurting? But that didn't make no sense, y'all. That was not in alignment with who I truly am. That was coming from a place of hurt. Like, you hurt me and thought it was justified in hurting me. So I'm going to laugh at you while you hurting. But again, it wakes the monster back up now, don't it? If you really think about it, I woke up the monster again when I made fun of them because now they think I did it. It took me a while to figure that one out, y'all, I'm going to be honest. So now I don't make fun of them, but I will use whatever is going down nowadays as a lesson that I can use for myself and to teach others. As even if it's like a warning, hey, maybe don't do those things. Because the energy of the universe is about balance. It's not about picking and choosing. Whatever you're in alignment with will be in alignment with you. So just by me, the act of me making fun of them put me back in alignment with them. So now I just sit back and take my licks. And it sucks every time. But I heal through the process and I learn through the process too. Because whatever is sent to me, I try to learn about it. I try to understand it. But I also try to understand the sender. Why are you doing that? What's hurting you? Why are you causing strife? What are you doing that for? And I choose to do that and focus on that and also heal me in that process. But why does it hurt you that they're doing that? Don't you know yourself? Don't you love yourself? That part. I'm like, but they're lying. That's a part of me, my ego. They're lying. Okay, they know they're lying or they don't know they're lying or they've been lied to. You think anything you do is going to change that? That's me, myself, my higher self, and my guys just talking. Yeah, it is fruitless. You will not bear any fruit from this exercise, so don't participate. But I want to, because my ego says, my ego's been bruised by this nonsense. Yeah, but what fruit are you going to bear off that tree? You going to water it? You going to grow it? You decide what you want to water and grow. What I want to water and grow is education. What I want to water and grow is healing. What I want to water and grow is absolute knowledge. And when I say absolute knowledge, knowledge that doesn't have self-interest just for me. I'm not teaching you this so you can just be a person that admires me, because that actually makes me feel some type of way internally, because that's a huge responsibility. Personally, I would prefer you to lean on your own understanding, take what I say to you, and sit with it for a while and see if it resonates with you. See if it's something that you understand, or and it can come to a place of understanding for yourself, and then take that and build on it. Understanding yourself through it. It ain't my job to save you. It ain't my job to enact justice upon you in that way, especially those who do not know better. I take it upon myself as my job to educate you, because I don't feel like knowledge is meant for just one person. It's meant to be shared. No one, Kanye said it best, I ain't gonna lie. No one man should have all that power. I firmly believe that. That's why no matter how much I was made fun of, no matter how many times I was hexed or talked about, I never changed how I do this. Because that's just who I am. I don't want to be what I am not. And that's how I healed a lot of things. I'm satisfied with the fact that I didn't change how I do things. In that regard, I'm satisfied that I changed some of the things that I did. Like when I was clapping back at folks back in the day, in my mind, in my heart, in my spirit at the time, it was the best I can do at the time to keep from beating the brakes off folks. Just because I'm capable of doing it, I don't mean I should do it. And even when I'm angry, I don't want to hit people I love. I don't want to hurt people I love. I don't care what they've done to me. That's just not in me to do. There's only one time in my life that I was tempted to do that. And then when I tell you divine energy came through and spoke to my spirit and kept me from doing that, and I am eternally grateful for it. And ever since then, I've been spoke to from a space and a place that I can't even explain to you. To continue to work as hard as I can to heal myself. And every single layer of healing I do, express that to anyone who is willing to hear it. Eventually, I put my cards down. I still keep them here because I like them. Because I started to see things for the ramifications. Now, I still read for folks individually, right? But it's on the present energy and using it as a tool to figure out some guidance if I can't give it to them myself. But not as a tool to tell you your future. Let me tell you something about that. And I don't care who don't like it at this particular point. Anybody who out here telling you your future, they're doing it for self-serving reasons. They're not doing it because they're trying to actually help you do anything. Because if you're not present thinking and you're not presently healing, what is the future going to do for you at all? It's hard to appreciate a gift when you don't realize it is a gift. Because you're trapped in misery and turmoil. And if you are trapped in misery and turmoil internally, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, when you receive a gift, you in some way could tarnish that experience by the energy that you're currently sitting. So you're in the energy of lack or desperation. Say, for instance, a lot of you folks out here in these spiritual streets looking at these tarot readers, you basically, you want to be loved and accepted. There's a wound there that needs to be healed. But you're not identifying the wound and working with the wound and healing the wound or doing no shadow work because you're watching the tarot readers telling you a man is coming next week, next month, next year. And like, I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that. Instead of living your life right now, living it like it's golden. Appreciating what you do have. Those of you who do have something. So that you can attract what it is that is in alignment with you. Because if you attract what it is that's in alignment with you while you addicted to watching these readers and all this stuff, what is in alignment with you is someone else who is also addicted to something. Addicted to needing someone else to complete them. Addicted to money. Addicted to fame. Addicted, because sometimes they predict fame and money for y'all too. But that's the thing about it. Manifestation is manifestation. So they're helping you manifest more lack energy just by process of you returning back over and over and over again. Now, I ain't religious. I done told y'all that before. I believe. I understand and I have a knowing. So I won't pretend to tell you what you deserve or need or all that to believe, but I know one thing for sure, without a shadow of a doubt. You heal yourself, heal your soul, and align with the things that you actually want to bring in your reality, you shall bring them. And then you'll have an understanding that the things you thought you wanted, you really didn't want. You were just wounded and thought that that would heal that thing that was wounded. You want fame, but can you really handle being famous? Or do you want fame so you can show everybody you did it because you're so wounded in the ego that you got to show everybody you're successful because you don't believe you're successful? These are the kind of folks that some of them do make it through and get famous. And then they're easily led by the nose to do things that go against their spirit. And they wonder why they feel like they sold their soul, because they did. Not me, Sherry. So that's just an example of the overall point I'm making. There's a lot of folks that are coming to understand in this shift here. There's a shift to a reality of a lot of folks and a lot of things. Who they truly are is shining through. And not everybody liking what they see. And some people are loving what they see. Some people who've been through the hell and back are realizing that was for a purpose. And that's a beautiful thing. Anyway, I done talked for a little bit. Y'all loved.